All right. Thanks again for joining me on this session. So something went wrong with my Zoom app. So I'm currently live right now using OBS Studio. So just want to see if you can see my screen. And if yes, then I'll get started off shortly. So let me just check the stream. Give me a few seconds here, okay? And I'll get started immediately. Yeah. Let us check this quickly. So if any of you is a OBS expert, just let me know because this is sure hard to use. So let's give me a minute here. I'm just going to check this out and then we're going to get started off shortly, all right? Okay, I'm going to get started off right now. Don't waste your time again. Appreciate you for joining me in this session. And today we're going to talk about using React Flow, right? And also showing you some ways you can actually improve basically your website conversions. So let me just switch my screen and then we'll get started immediately. Okay. I'm still with you here. I'm still with you. Don't worry. I'm just going to see whether I'm looking all right. And then if yes, I'll get started immediately. Okay, so let's get started immediately right now. Today we're going to talk about the number one reason why, well, customers don't buy on your site, right? And I'm going to show you some ways to actually fix this. Well, basically how we can fix this and improve the conversions in your site. So when I talk about conversions and also I talk about conversions in general, it just basically means your leads and also your sales that you collected on your site itself. So how do we actually do that? How do we actually improve the conversions that happens on our site again? Okay, so first of all, what we're going to cover today is the one reason. Actually, I'm going to share you many reasons why people don't buy. Yeah, ways to fix it, and I'm going to show you a demo of React Flow to improve your sales and lead conversions. So before we get started, hey, my name is Ruben, head of marketing at Lead, and owner and co-founder of Cat Studio as well, and founder of Cat Insight Agency, HRDS certified trainer. That's what I do. So I train corporates to, in terms of growth marketing, and I'm also a growth marketer and entrepreneur. So what I do every single day is, in fact, marketing. Now I used to do some music producing. Right now I still do, but not so much because I'm spending my time so much on Lead and helping individuals and also companies to grow. So anyway, some of the brands that you see that I work with are people that you see in the bottom here. So it's not so much about me today, and in any of our webinars, our workshops and courses, it's never really about me. It's always about you and how we can actually help you achieve more and grow more in your business itself. Okay, so first of all, the question is this: do you run a website or e-commerce site that sells products, sells services, collects customer leads, allow people to maybe download brochures, download something, or allow people to submit contact forms? Now, if you do any of this, then you're in the business of conversions because you want conversions. And conversions, like I said earlier, can mean many different things. For us at Lead, a conversion would be someone registering to our webinar, someone purchasing one of our courses, registering for our courses, or downloading a free guide or a PDF. That's a conversion to us. Now for you, a conversion could be something else. It could be something totally different, right? And what I'm going to do to you, what I'm going to talk about is, now what you think about is, what is your website for? Right? Think about it for a moment. So a lot of people have the idea of, oh, my site is there, but what's the real function of the website for? So Now there are many different things, but one of the main reasons, why our website is built for is these typical answers. Because I have a business, typical answers to show people my products, to sell products, to get leads, to tell people about us. And some people may say, hey, everybody needs a website, Ruben. I mean, if you're running a business, you definitely need a business. I mean, you definitely need a website, right? So there are many answers to this one here. But what if a lot of money on your site, right? Think about the businesses. Think about all these people who pay developers, their web development team, their server, their plugins and maintenance to, to basically get their site up. But what happens is, well, they spend a lot of money, right? And get the site up. But what happened then is they don't get the ROI back from their investment, right? In fact, a lot of them actually end up losing money, right? This is very, very, very apparent and also very usual. So why is it that people don't buy from our site? What's the problem on our site? Okay, so I'm going to go through some of the typical problems, why people don't buy from a site, and show you some ways you can actually do and help that. Okay, so first of all, of course, we're going to go two things, right? So one of all, the first reason that people don't buy your product or services is because it does not help them solve their problem. Now, this is something that you should know as a business itself. I wouldn't have to tell you this. It's something that you have to fix on your own, and I can't help you with this because no matter what kind of products you do, service or product that you provide to people, you have to be able to solve their problem. If not, well, you basically is not in a business. All right, so most businesses are built up to solve problems. You are a solution provider. Okay, so number two, they don't believe you. So a lot of businesses run in a way that they look a bit scammy. People don't believe you. So once we get these two items out of the way, first of all, your products has to solve people's problem, and number two, people have to believe you. Now let's go into the other 7 reasons why customers don't buy typically from your website or for something that you have online. So first of all, the first thing of all is a lot of customers, when it comes to websites, e-commerce sites, no matter what you have online, whether it's just a Facebook page or more, is number one, they don't see the value your product brings them. Now this is really important. So one of the things that we can do is we have to think about the customer or the end first, right? Instead of thinking of our end. So there's a lot of marketers today who are pretty much selfish in a way. Okay, so what they do is they think about themselves. Oh, what is in it for me? When I run ads, what is my ROI? So it's me, and me, right? But in a lot of cases, when we are in a business, whether it's online or offline, it's about providing value to people. So when we think about ourselves, then it shows in our marketing. So when it comes to doing online marketing, we have to think about the people, your customers. What's the value that your product and services provides to your customers? And your customers have to see that value, right, before they actually would buy something from you, whether it's a product, whether it's a service. Number two, they don't know what to buy. So a lot of times, I'll show you this in some examples later on. In a few cases, right, when it comes to e-commerce sites, your customers goes to your website, but your e-commerce site is filled up with all these products that they do not know what to buy, right? This also happens to a lot of people. Number three, no urgency to buy right now. So a lot of sites today, as I have noticed, they have beautiful pages, they have beautiful websites that win awards, but when they push their products on their site, they don't put any urgency to buy it right now. So that's a huge problem. Number four, they don't understand your website. So again, sites can be really beautiful, it can be like top-notch, can be winning awards, but if your customers do not understand your site, you have lost their sale. Number five, they have no time. So a lot of sites today have very long and sophisticated sign-up forms and also order forms, and people generally do not have time. Now, so think about it this way. The lesser clicks you can provide for your customers, that means if you want them to do, let's say, do X, which is buy something, how many clicks do they have to do or take before they are able to buy that something, right? If that clicks is more than easily 10, 15, now you are in trouble, right? So your site has to be efficient. That's in a way that you reduce the clicks that someone has to take to do something, whether to download something, to send you a contact form, or whichever. Number 6, they got distracted. So this happens so much as well. So they go around your site, right? And your site has so many buttons, so many links, they get distracted. So this is one big reason why customers don't buy from websites as well. And number 7, they don't feel secure. So a lot of sites looks dodgy, and because people have been burned by all these types of scams and things that are happening online right now, they don't feel secure sometimes when it comes to buying from a small player or someone who's just starting out. So if you're someone who's just going into the e-commerce arena, the selling things online, sometimes people don't trust you, right? You have to be very honest with that. And people, when people come to your site, they don't see the faces behind the site. They don't see an office address. They don't see a phone number. They wouldn't buy. They're not secure. So let me give you some examples of these 7 reasons. So one reason, right, is they don't see value. So for example, if you look at my example here, I have a screenshot of IKEA, right? And I actually had it covered by this Getah, right? Getah is also a Malaysian brand that sells these latex pillow, which are pretty expensive. So my initial point I want to show you here is that on the IKEA page, what if this place there is just a pillow? Well, we all know the benefits of pillow. We all need a pillow to sleep at night, right? But if we turn the pillow into something like what Getah has done here, now Getah is trying to sell you the benefits of this pillow, right? So instead of just, oh, it's a pillow, Getah is going to say, oh, this is for sleep-sensitive individuals, health-conscious sleeper. It's a weekend pillow. So again, if you scroll down on the landing page more, you'll see more benefits. So one thing that a lot of users do these days and business owners do these days is when it comes to their site, they become out of sudden they become very formal. So they start thinking about the features of their product. So let's say you sell pillows today, and you'll be thinking like, oh, what does my pillow do? My pillow is durable. My pillow is what? But you're thinking about features, right? Now, what's the benefits towards your customers? So how do you sell a pillow to someone? Do they sleep better with your pillow? Do they have, maybe they can sleep shorter and still reap the goodness of sleep? Well, that's up to you, but I'm not someone who sells pillow, but you get the idea. Okay, so number 2, don't know what to buy. This is the second problem, right? So the second problem is sometimes on your site you have so many products. Let's say you sell, potato chips or something, and you have 20 types of potato chips online. Now, your customer is going to be confused. Have you been to the supermarket, right? And you see something like what I've shown you in this picture here, right? Maybe 10 or 15 types of items that is exactly the same, and you're just confused because you're looking like, okay, which one do I get? And you start trying to pick. You start trying to pick the best thing that you need at that time, at that moment, right? What is the best out of all this commodity here? So sometimes when it comes to e-commerce sites, when you are too complex and you put up too many products for them to buy, it counterintuitively end up getting them not to buy something, right? So this is something that we have to observe. Now, number 3, no urgency. So a lot of sites forget putting the urgency. So again, urgency can be done very selfishly, or they can be done in a way that is generous as well. So for example, in this screenshot here, I have Sephora, and you can see that they don't have much urgency there, except they have a bracket that says limited edition. Now, that don't seem like it does much, but for people who are in the market to buy a Fenty Beauty highlighter and know that this is limited edition, meaning that this is only limited in quantity that they can get, they probably have that urgency to take action right now. So most e-commerce websites today have to put an urgency into their products. So there are a few ways you can put urgency into your products. It does not have to be just limited units or limited price. So more often than not, most people put in price. Oh, this is going to be more expensive in the future, right? But there are so many other ways. For example, if you sell something like an event or a webinar, there can be limited spots. So at least we limit our spots to 100 people. That's also an urgency, but we're not lying about that. It's because it's true. Our webinars is only limited to 100 people, not YouTube Live, but our webinars, right? Now, you can also put things like limited units. Oh, we only have limited units left, but be honest with that. Now, urgency can be also a form of social pressure, as in like, for example, uh, maybe if you sell perfumes, right? And you can put in an urgency that says, oh, 10,000 people have gone ahead and bought this perfume. Why haven't you? Right? That's a social pressure. That's also an urgency. Now, FOMO stands for fear of missing out. So if everyone is doing something, I don't want to miss out. So how can you induce this towards your customers, include your visitors, in a way that is generous? Now, upfront difficulty. What do I mean by upfront difficulty? I don't have an example to show you what upfront difficulty means. But for example, have you come across a site where you had to go through a lengthy process of a survey? For example, think of a university, right? You have to go through a lengthy process of the interview, whichever the survey, meeting the person in live on a webinar call or a meeting, right? So you've gone through all that effort to come to a point, and once you're at a point, it's going to be difficult to say no because you have gone through and invested all that time and effort to get to that spot. So you can also do this for an e-commerce site as well. And the last one, loss aversion. Now, we always have loss aversion, as in if we don't take action right now, we'll lose something at the end. So that's loss aversion. So there's many ways. This is not the only few ways that you can put an urgency, but these are some great ideas you can start off with. All right, so moving on, next thing, right? A lot of people don't understand your site. So this is the next problem, right? So for example, we're going to go back to Geta right now. And if you look at their site, you can see that they have so many types of menus, right? Nano, silver, mattress, topper, protector, pillows, baby junior. Now, for someone who is not an expert in, well, pillows, he'll be confused. I'm sure some of you will be confused here, right? What is Geta greetings? What are all these different things? What kind of pillows can I choose? What kind of pillows would suit me? So if someone do not understand what you're trying to sell or what you're trying to portray in your site, you have lost them. So I do not have data of how well Geta does with their e-commerce site, but you see Geta still needing sales reps, sales representative at their store to explain, right? To explain what kind of pillows suit someone. So I've had an impression that their site does not really convert that well, but I may be wrong. All right, so and the next one is no time or patience. So this is the next problem, right? So a lot of people have no time or patience when it comes to putting up a long form like this. So if you're selling something and you have a long form with where you're collecting people's name, emails, phone numbers, country, project type, estimate budget, people get lazy. So what we can do is we can shorten this whole process up by putting a quick way to collect information, and then once we have gotten them into our funnel or our email automation or whichever, then and only then we ask them for the further information. So the tip here is to cut down user friction. If there's a lot of friction towards putting down a lead or buying something, then this is going to be friction, and that's going to be bad for your users. Okay, now the next thing, if you go to Lazada, you go to Zalora or whichever e-commerce site, you notice something, that they have all these kind of security logos that they paste around their site that tells people and say, hey, we are secure, right? You can pay with Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Touch and Go. We are verified by all these different bodies. We are encrypted and more to signal to you and say, hey, we are secure. You don't have to worry when it comes to buying from us. So sometimes a lot of younger e-commerce sites forget to put all these logos on your site. So if you're someone like that, you would benefit a lot by putting all these security logos and also guarantees to reduce the risk of someone who is going to buy something from your site. So the biggest mistake of all, right, when it comes to why customers do not actually convert on your page is because most business owners or most website owners only track quantitative data, but they forgot to track qualitative data. Now, if this sounds boring to you, it shouldn't be, because I'll explain it. So what is quantitative data? So quantitative data is basically data that is based out of numbers. So in a quick layman term, if you use things like Google Analytics, that is quantitative data. That means things that you can actually count. So in the first example, you can see that I have 9,790 users. So a typical website owner or e-commerce site owner would say, oh, we have 9,000 plus users coming to our site. And if you look at the funnel, we can see that a lot of them drop out during the entered checkout page. But that's about it. right? That's a problem. So when we look at quantitative data, we can tell how many people came to our site, how many people drop off our site, but we cannot tell why do visitors drop off? Why do they click that button to exit? Why do they take that long to finish checking out? And along with a lot of other questions that we do not know, because we are wondering why? Why do this happen? Why do they click the button? Why do they take that long to finish out? We do not know, right? So I'm going to present to you 3 ways to improve your website conversions using qualitative data. Instead of quantitative, we use qualitative data. This is about understanding the behaviors and also the mindset of people using your site. So the first thing that we can do, I'm going to give you 3 ways here. Very quick session today, and I'm going to do some practicals with you as well. So the first way is to simply ask your visitors. So I find that a lot of people do not actually ask the visitors, but they assume what their visitors think about their site. So number one, there's a few things you can ask, right? You can ask so many different kinds of things with your visitors. You can ask them about your product, you can ask them about your service, you can ask them about how they feel about your website, how do they feel about your landing page, how do they feel about your form, how do they feel about your checkout page, and more. Now the thing is, when you ask your visitors or customers for feedback, don't just make changes based on one feedback from one person. That's a mistake. Make changes when you have 20 or 30 people saying the exact same thing. So it's really easy to put up something like this that you see on my screen here. Putting up something with an incentive, but you ask people to gather data so you can improve whatever you have on your site itself. All right, and like I said earlier, when you ask people for feedback, make sure to always collect leads at the same time. Right? The thing is this: if people, your visitors, are willing to spend time and effort to answer your survey or poll on your site, he or she would probably be a more qualified customer too. I'm sure you would agree with this. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few ways of doing this practically. So let me just switch back to my screen, hopefully, and I'll show you how we can actually do this with React Flow. So today I'm going to show you a few examples using React Flow. So let me just try to get back to my screen and see if I can show you this here, okay? Give me a few seconds here. All right, I'm going to go back to my whoops. Okay, am I doing this rightly? I don't know. Now let me know if you can see my screen. I know this is like going crazy right now, but okay. Let me see if I can look at myself here. Oops. Okay, I know the whole recording here is messy. If you're an expert on OBS, let me know. I'll definitely get you to actually help me out with this whole OBS thingy and make sure this works the next time I do it, okay? So let me know. Okay, so I think you can see me right now. So anyway, this would be React Flow, and I'm going to show you an example of doing this with React Flow. Okay, so React Flow is basically a conversion optimization platform that we have actually made a deal with to give you an offer to get it at this 150 for 3 months, right? But it can do so many different things. So the first thing I'm going to show you is by putting in the first way of increasing our conversion by asking customers what do they like, what do they dislike, and how we can actually improve on that. Okay, so I'm going to log into my React Flow account. And you can see from my back end here, these are all the list of reportings that we can actually look at, right? One of the things I want to see is basically the widgets area. So we're going to go down to widgets area. And under here, you can see that we have feedback, survey, polls, and also leads, right? So what we can do from here is to create those little widgets that comes out on your site. So I'm going to show you how this looks like on DigitalKit, okay? So I'm going to go to digitalkit.org, and when I go to digitalkit.org, I've done this a few times, so let me open this in the new incognito window. When I go to digitalkit.org, you can see this small at the corner, right hand corner here, right? We have this thing that says get a 10 dollar coupon for helping us. Now I know my face is blocking that thing, but you can see it right here, right? Something that pops up on the right hand side corner that says get a coupon for helping us. Can you help us answer 2 quick questions so we can serve you better? So that's a survey, right? Now you can come up with surveys of different things. You can ask questions like, is our website easy to understand? Is our whichever easy to use? Do you have any problems with whichever things, right? But the idea here is when you ask people for questions, for answers, normally people will like to help you. If you incentivize them with something, you give them something for helping you, right? So it's a give and take kind of thing. So I'm going to click on that, yes, let me get help. And you can see that this opens up a quick little survey that says, for example, is it easy to log in on DigitalKit? So I can say, yeah, yes, right? What would you change? Maybe less clicks. Okay. Your email to receive 10 ringgit off? Sure. My email would be ruben@thelead.io. I would love to get that 10 ringgit off. Submit. So that's it, right? So it's easy to ask for a quick survey on your site or whichever. So I'll show you an example. So how do we build this using React Flow? So simple. I'm going to go back to React Flow. So behind my dashboard here, what you're going to do is you're going to go down to widgets on the left hand side corner, right? And go into, say, survey. So under survey, this is where we actually go and build our survey. So what I can do is I can go and create a new survey widgets. I'm going to click on create new survey widget. And basically from here, we can put in a quick internal name. Let's just say this is a quick survey on YouTube Live. Okay, so I'm going to choose to place this widget, to show this widget on the bottom left or bottom right, or whichever you choose. I'm going to choose maybe top right so it doesn't, shows in front of my face there. Okay, so widget contents. So what's going to be inside the content of the widget? So you can say, so the title here has to be something that incentivizes them. So the mistake that a lot of people do at this point is that they ask very generic kind of stuff. Your opinion is important. No, a user would say, I don't care. Why do you care about my opinion? What's in it for me, right? So for example, let's say you run DigitalKit, for example. So I'm going to say things like, you can get cheeky as well. So help me and we help you. Okay, so you can get cheeky when we help you. Make it fun, yeah? So we are conducting a survey. Please help us answering a few questions. Incentivize it again. Help us with maybe 3 questions, or we can get them to expect how long this will take as well. So for example, spend just 1 minute. Okay, spend 1 minute of your time and get a RM10 offer in return. Sounds good? So again, this can be something that be easy. Okay, let me just change this. Alright, so spend 1 minute of time and get 10 ringgit offer in return. Sounds good? And then the survey, we can change it and say, yes, let's do this. Alright, so once we have done this, we're going to go down into the page rules. So page rules basically means where you want to show this little widget on your site, on your home page, on a blog page somewhere, on your product page. Where do you want to show this survey? You can show this survey on your checkout page as well, right? Maybe someone has a problem when it comes to checking out on your page and you want to ask them this question. Show it there, right? So what I'm going to do right now is maybe I want to show this on my home page. So I'm going to click on show on any page that matches maybe something. So I'm going to show on a page that matches, contains, let's say, let me see what kind of pages I have on my page. Yeah, DigitalKit, React Flow deal. Okay, so let's just say I want to show my page on something that has React Flow deal. Okay, I'm going to add this page rule. Okay, so moving on next, display rules. Now display rules basically just means how often you want to show this pop-up. Do you want to show this when someone has scrolled down maybe 50% of your page, or you want to show it immediately on when someone visits your page? So for this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show it just immediately to keep it simple so you can see what I've just built here. Okay, I'm going to click on submit, and then once we do that, we can build this form. So the form is easy to build. Let's just say we're going to add a short text answer and say Do you like our site? Now, of course, the questions here would be your questions. I'm just making it quick so I don't waste your time. Do you like our site? What you hate about it? And then I'm going to put in a nano one here and say this one here is, okay, we did this. Maybe change an email, yeah? Okay, give me your email. Okay, so once we're done with this, I'm going to click on submit. And that's it, right? So what's going to happen right now is if I go to my page, which I've selected where this pop-up should appear, it's not really a pop-up, it's more like a widget, right? And click on enter. Let's see whether this shows up, okay? There, it immediately shows up on my screen now. Look at the top right here, and you can immediately see what I've actually collected here. Help me and we help you. Spend 1 minute of your time and get a 10 ringgit offer in return. Sounds good? Yes, let's do this, right? So when someone clicks on this, same thing, he's going to go into that survey and he can answer your survey and get that little offer. And in return, you get something, you get an insight about your particular page, or that's something that you're going to ask your visitors. And at the same time, you also receive his or her email, which you can actually retarget or do marketing back at them. All right, so you get the idea. So this is one way that we should do. So one of the best things you can do right now is to actually put out surveys to ask your users what's going on, what do they like, what do they don't like, what can we improve, right? And with their answers, you improve your products, you improve your services, you increase your conversions on your site, just like that. Now, of course, this is not the only thing that React can do. There's also the other things like feedback, like poll. So polls are like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate our checkout page? On a scale of 1 to 10, how easy it is to understand what we have to offer, right? Things like that. There's also a way to put out lists. So all these are different options of putting up that widget that you just saw just now. And basically just do this. And I promise you, when you start asking your customers, you will see your conversions increase. Why? Because customers also love the fact that you are asking them and you are caring about them as well. So do this. I think this is amazing. You should totally ask questions from your customers, whether you're an e-commerce site or whether you're a normal site, just to get feedback and also to collect a lead in the process of doing that. Okay, I'm going to go back to my screen again, to my presentation again, and hopefully you can see this, yeah? I'm going to see whether I'm still connected here and everyone can see my screen. Yeah, I'm just sharing the whole screen right now because I got fed up with this screen sharing thing already. Okay, so next thing I'll talk about is the second way of increasing your conversions is to look at qualitative data. So qualitative data means what users are doing on your site, not why are they on the site, right? So with Google Analytics, we can see why some people came to our site, where they came from, and where things happen. But we do not know why those things happen. So we're going to see why with video recordings and also heat maps using a tool like React Flow. Again, today is a demo of React Flow. So what we can do immediately, I'm going to show you some quick case studies, is why should we use video recordings and also heat maps. I'm going to give you a case study from QDis. Now, QDis was a client, and I can share this, yeah? It's a quick case study. So we had this landing page, you see on the right here, a landing page for lead capture that we ran using Google Ads. So that means we used this page, we ran a campaign on Google Ads and drove traffic into Google Ads, into this landing page. So this is typical for a lot of businesses. If you are in a business of collecting leads, whether you're an insurance agent, whether you are someone who collects leads, yeah? If your business is to collect leads and then close later using a call, this would be something you want to actually take a look at. So first of all, some questions that we ask is, which benefit was the key selling point, right? When it comes to our landing page, how would we know that? Number two, did we waste any ad budgets because the page didn't load or a button wasn't working? Things like that happen because today we have all sorts of different devices from laptops, mobile phones, and all these devices have different screen sizes and different environments that they are used in, right? So sometimes visitor might visit your site on a mobile phone, maybe on an older Android phone, and something does not load on that phone, right? But the thing about us as website owners is we do not know that. So The second question is, did we waste any ad budgets because a page didn't load or a button that the press did not work? Right? So we want to know that. Number 3, how can we improve lead conversions? So we know that we are driving people and traffic into this page. How can we improve these lead conversions? Okay, so I want to take a look at video recording on that particular page itself and see what you can observe from this quick video recording. So I'm going to get this started. It's going to take a few seconds, and I want to take a look at this. Now you can see it running, right? All right. So very quickly, what I noticed from here immediately is that people don't read, right? We have so many texts, beautifully written, beautiful copywriting, but this particular person did not stop to even read what we have to say. What he or she is doing is literally just looking at the headlines. So from that moment on, we know that headlines are really important, right? And then we look at the form itself. We know that they put into the form, and then this user came into this page, the ending page, click on the middle button, and then left, right? So we know their habits of looking at the landing page. So from here, we can make all sorts of different types of improvements. So we know that for a start, the headlines in the beginning was a bit too big, right, for a mobile phone, and he or she would have to scroll a lot to see different things. Now let me show you another screen recording and see what you observe. So this is another user. It's a bit longer, so I'm going to hit on play, and I want you to observe, what do you see? Okay, so we can see that users are actually scrolling through the page itself. So these are basically users that we see. These are recordings that users have of users who have used our site, right? Now, do you see how fast this particular person have actually, scroll around without even reading? Of course, there are a few more key points that you cannot really see from this small little screen that you're watching me right now on. But one of the things that I noticed in this recording here, the second recording, is that in our forms, let me see if I can stop this for you, right? If you look at our forms right here, oops, I'm trying to stop this at the point that I want to. All right, if you look at this point right here, what is your name, email address, your phone number, I'm interested of becoming. You can see that on a mobile phone, our form is a little bit too small for people to read the exact sentence. So that's also a UX issue. Now, this is a lead capture form, for example. So this is something that we can actually close one eye on. But if this is your checkout page, this is a problem because they cannot read. Right? What you have in that placeholder of your form. So that is bad. So what we do immediately is we look at ways to actually make it easier to see, smaller on a phone, so that a phone user can also read the whole sentence that we have on the form itself. So these are some improvements we make after looking at a video recording, because you cannot do this if you are just relying on things like Google Analytics, right? Okay, next case study. So this is also by QDis. So QDis, right? I'm doing some promotion for them right now. So QDis, they have two types of programs. One is a preschool program called the Starters Preschool, and the second one is the Scholars program for primary enrichment. Now, I know some of you may not be in the childcare industry, but basically, layman's term apart, starters are for the starters, preschool is for smaller kids, right, age maybe 2+ up to 5, and the primary enrichment is basically for the older kids, right, from 5 years old up to maybe 8 or 9. So from this heat map here, this is known as a heat map, you can see immediately that the Scholars Primary Enrichment that you can see above is not as popular as Starters Preschool. So from here itself, I can tell that QDis, most of their business is in the Starters Preschool niche, not so much in the primary enrichment, right? So again, this is just a quick screenshot, but when you have heat maps on your site, you can tell so many different things. You can tell like what users are interested in, what they are not interested in, what they are clicking on, and what their habits when it comes to your site itself. So this is so important when it comes to e-commerce, or even when you're looking at collecting lead captures and more. So this will actually give you the answer to why users are browsing your site but not checking out, not buying from you. Okay, second thing, are there pages with errors? So sometimes when we run e-commerce sites, we have so many buttons here and there, so many pages. Again, as I said, different types of users on different types of devices. Sometimes they would hit problems on our site and without us knowing it, right? Maybe you try to buy something and you click that buy button, but your buy button does not work because you have a JavaScript error or something like that. So how would you know if there's an error in your site or your page somewhere? So one of the ways we can do is to use things like React Flow again. And that's why I recommend this using and talk about and look at ways we can actually, get notified when someone hits an error on the site itself. Okay, so I'm going to show you this live again. I'm going to go back to my screen. So we're going to go back to React Flow again. And within React Flow, we also have different types of recordings. For example, I can go into the different types of recordings. I'm going to show you some recordings, okay? So let me go into list of recordings. And basically, within the account itself, you can collect up to 2,000 recordings of 2,000 users. So let me just look at one recording and see what we can find. All right, so let me just see. Okay, so I'm going to zoom down into this one here. So we can see immediately, right, from video recordings, this user is a new user. Okay, I'm looking at this particular one, right, 118, recording number 118, if you can see from my screen. This particular user is from Puchong in Malaysia. He or she is using a desktop, using Mac OS, meaning that he or she is on a Apple MacBook, using the OS of Sierra, and using Chrome to enter my site. Okay, now he landed on improved conversions, right? But this particular user came from this page called rubencheng.com/growth marketing techniques. So this is a referrer who read my blog and then clicked something and went into improved conversion on digitalkit.org 6 hours ago. And he or she spent around 1 minute 38 seconds on the site. So to watch this recording, we can just click on this button here, this big button here, and click on play. And immediately we can see whatever this user is doing on our page, how did it reacted with our whole page itself, what he did, what he clicked on, and everything else. So this is what the user did on our site. Now, if you're wondering why the tags are all hidden up, it's because of the GDPR privacy. So when you use video recordings, you will see this thing happening on your site. Of course, they won't record whatever these users are looking at, and all the text and everything the user enters on the site would be masked up and put as dots this way, right? So you won't be able to see the text, but you can make a sense about what they're doing on the page, what they're clicking on, and also look at what they do. So you can see that this user, right, he's just scrolling around looking at, do you see that clicks? He's clicking all over the headlines, expecting the headline to be something that is clickable. But in this sense, in this case, it's not clickable. So if we know and we notice that a lot of users are clicking on headlines because they thought it's clickable, but we're not making it clickable, then we ought to do something to make that headline clickable, right? So in this case, I know that this user is a bit confused and is not finding what he or she is wanting to find on this page itself. So we have to fix this page, right? Again, you can see it scroll down and click on the bottom footer. So how many of you have a site today and you have your bottom of footer not optimized? Look at the end there. He or she is clicking really fast. I'm going to go back into I'm going to slow down the recording so you can see the exact action that this user is doing. So slowing it down to 1 time. So this is real time, yeah. So you click on the headlines. See that? See that? Click all the way here and then go to the bottom footer here and start clicking on my logo. And my logo is not clickable, so sadly, see? Click few times on that logo and click 1 or 2 times on my email. Drop me an email. Now, I hope you can see that. So these are basically findings that we can never tell when it comes to looking at quantitative data. So this is basically qualitative data. I'm showing you a quick example, but you can do this for your e-commerce site or whichever lead op insight that you have, and find out what people are doing in the site, what are they looking at, and how you can optimize the whole experience to be able to hit the KPIs and goals that you set out for that website itself. Okay, so moving on. So that's video recordings, and I think it's so useful because we can see so many things, learn so many things. Now, next thing I'm going to show you is the heat maps. So I'm going to go back to recordings. So recordings is basically very clear, but the problem with recordings is you're looking at one by one. Of course, you can actually tag those users and zoom down to those recordings you want to only watch, not to watch everything, watch what you want to see. But if you want to see something on an aggregate scale, meaning that you want to see a data set of a few people, what we can leverage on is then the heat maps. So the heat maps is basically, let me just show you the heat maps of the home page. So heat map is basically an aggregate data of maybe 100 or a few thousand of people depending on the visitors you have, right? So here I have a bit of some heat map data, and you can see on this heat map here, we can precisely see this heat here, we can precisely see where people are clicking on our site. They're clicking on the button, right? They're clicking on the text below the button. So few of my things that they're clicking here is they're clicking on the text itself, but the text are not clickable. So for some reason they're clicking on the pictures. Again, the pictures are not clickable, so we might want to make that picture clickable. Alright, you can see them clicking on this link itself. Okay, so from here itself I can see that people are interested in the first topic, but not so much in this one here. That's something to take in as well. Alright, and as we scroll down below, nobody has clicked anything below, so we can actually remove those whole redundant things here, because we know an average of our users do not actually go bother clicking about this thing here. So we can just remove this thing out. We don't need that, make our site load faster and remove the whole thing here. So that's one thing we can look at. So if we go back to the hover, we can then see where our users are hovering around. So where people are hovering around is where their eyes are at, because when we use a computer, we are actually moving our mouse scroll according to where our eyes are looking. If you notice yourself, right? So what they're doing here is they're tracking the mouse movements and seeing what we are seeing here is basically where their eyes are looking at on your site itself. So that's how it works. So we know that a typical user focuses on the headline here on the left and then on the right. That's something to take in, right? They also focuses a lot on the top here, right? The one red, which is where they focus on. And as we scroll down, we can see where they are focusing on as well. Of course, you see a lot of dots here, but this is something that I understand because I know the layout of my website, right? And okay, so again here we can see a lot of them have their eyes focused on the headline plus the picture here, but they're not so particularly interested in this or this. So this tells me something. Now this picture here is yellow, so it's bright, right? But this picture here is dark. So maybe what I can do to optimize this page is to change the pictures into brighter images, because, well, for some reason my visitors prefer looking at a bright image like the yellow one here, and it's also one reason why we are so bright in our website are so bright. And then the darker ones, the eyes don't actually look there. They are bored, right? So it doesn't catch the eye. Let's look at more. So we can see that people also read my footer of the site. So many things that we can learn from this heat map alone. So this is heat maps. I think this is something that we all should have installed on our site. React Flow will be something that you can trial with, and with the deal that we have going on, this will be a great thing to get started with. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next one and show you the next things. So what else can I show you? Okay, next thing I want to show you is the bugs feature. Okay, so the bugs feature is basically a feature that when your visitor hits a bug on your site, an email will be sent to you telling you who is this visitor, what bug he or she has hit, and show you a recording of this particular user itself. Okay, so one of it I can show you here is, let me see. Okay, all right, so look at this one here. 404, current page not found, www.digitalkit.org.product. So this is a live one, yeah. So I received this error in my email inbox, and when I look at this, this came one day ago, and when I click on occurrence, I can see this here, right? So now this is something that I can tell, right? So someone actually came to my site and went into this page here, digitalkit.org/product, and this page was not working. Okay, so let's take a look at this page. And true enough, this page is a 404 page, no result found. So this is an error page that I have to fix. But I wouldn't know this if I wouldn't be tracking it, right? So one thing that we do is we track, and when an error happens on our site, we get notified for that. So we can also see the recordings and see the details of this particular user, and we can take a look at the recordings as well. So I'm going to play the session and see how this user actually went to that page and hit that error. So he came to my site looking at this product called Ding Ding, right? So this particular user actually takes some time to look at the whole website itself. So I'm going to skip this up by speed the whole recording up by 4 times and see where has this user actually went and hit that error page. So anyway, skipping fast this recording, this particular user actually went into login my page and do this and that, and then at one point he actually hit into an error, which is that error you saw earlier, the 404 page on the product. Alright, so I know the video is a bit fast and it's a bit hard to show you through a video recording, a live session like this, but try it for yourself and you find different kind of things and different kind of habits that users are doing on your site itself. Alright? Okay, so those are the features of React Flow. Again, I can't show you much today because there's so much to go through and I kind of scrubbed the whole live session today, so I promise to do a better one the next time. Make sure I check my YouTube live settings before I go live, but I hope you get the idea, okay? Now, next thing I'm going to go before we end today is the third way to increase your conversion. So the third way is to focus on traffic sources that brings you the revenue. Now, when you do marketing, when you have a site and you market it to Facebook, you market it on Google, you market it on your instant messaging and all these places, sooner or later you'll find out that not all traffic sources are equal, right? So you may begin to find that, oh, most of our conversions came from people coming from Facebook, for example. Maybe most of your traffic conversions came from traffic from LinkedIn. So you'll find out that not all traffic sources are equal, and that's why you have to track this. So we're going to go back into using Google Analytics. Okay, so we're going to use a match of qualitative data and also quantitative data. So again, Google Analytics is quantitative data. Okay, so what we can do here is we can find out which traffic source is driving revenue by just looking at the source of traffic. Okay, I'm going to show you this live and show you how we can do this. So if you have Google Analytics set up already, just go into Google Analytics, and what I want you to do is, I'm going to go back to Google Merchandise Store to show you some sample data of how this would work in real life. So I'm going to go from the start again. So if you have a Google Analytics account, what you want to do is to go into your home page. Okay, from start again. So one of the most important traffic you want to look at is your source of traffic. So once you're on your home page, go down to acquisition, go down to all traffic. That means where all your traffic came from, and then we can go down to source and medium. Now this will tell you the source of your traffic and the medium it came from. So for example, from here we can see that our source and medium are Google, Direct, all these places, and we can match this data up, right? We can match these sources up with the conversions. So you can see on this column here under transactions, revenue, and e-commerce conversion rate, we can see the transaction that happened, and we can actually filter this out and see where most of our conversions and transactions have came from. In this case, 67 transactions in this time period has came from Google Organic. So Google Organic is one of the biggest source of traffic that brings revenue for this site itself. Okay. Now something that we want to actually note is also the conversion rate. So looking at transactions is not enough, because why? Well, we can see that a lot of users, 25,000 of them came from Google Organic. So we're not looking at it on a weighted scale. So what you need to do is also look at the conversion rate itself. So instead of looking at just the transaction, look at the conversion rate itself. So we can see that 4.55%. So this is a high conversion rate, right? Now, where did this traffic came from? If you look back this here, we can see that, oh, this traffic came from this site called DealSpot.tr or DealSpotR.com. So as a website owner, I can go and investigate this site and see how we can get more users from this site and get our revenue to increase from this site itself. So we're looking at the traffic that gives us the revenue instead of just blindly marketing over and over again and just throwing things on the wall to see what sticks, right? You know that saying. So basically, look at the source of traffic that you have, right? And see which one is actually giving you the conversions. So cool, this is great, right? Now, next thing I want to show you is Okay, so what this is simple to do. Once you have Google Analytics, this would be a piece of cake to start up. And if you have it installed, you'll be able to see data like this of what I've just shown you. Now, the next thing is, some of you might say, hey, Ruben, I just started off last week or yesterday or today. What if I don't even have traffic yet? What can I do? What can I get started with? So my answer to you is to use tools like similarweb.com and also ubersuggest.com to find out where your competitors get traffic from. So let's just say you are someone who's just starting off doing, starting off with your e-commerce site, and you are up against a few competitors that you know that are doing really well, and you're wondering where do they get their traffic from. So two tools that you can use today is similarweb.com and also Ubersuggest. Now I'll send you links at the end of this session. Let me see if I can send you the links right now. Yeah, so let me just go and send you the links. So use similarweb.com. Let me just type this down for you. Okay, and the next one is Ubersuggest. So use two of these tools to find out the sources of traffic that your competitors are getting their traffic from. So let me just go back to my screen and show you how we can do this. Okay, so right now we're going to go into SimilarWeb. So type in similarweb.com, and let's just say, for example, we are doing an analysis on World of Buzz, something that you know. Okay, so where do worldofbuzz.com get their traffic from? So I'm going to put in World of Buzz here, worldofbuzz.com, and click on World of Buzz. See that? So once we do this, we can immediately see the traffic overview from worldofbuzz.com. So for example, if I scroll down a little bit, I can see that World of Buzz gets their traffic, the sources, from places like mostly 41% on social channels. This means like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, social. So again, World of Buzz is a magazine, it's a news site, right? So we know that most of their traffic came from social. Now, a lot also came from search. So from here, we can immediately see the types of traffic that our competitors, let's just say World of Buzz is your competitor, yeah? Where are they getting their traffic from? And if I scroll down a little bit more, I can see that, oh, okay, they are getting the traffic from also places like Loyat Forum. So I know that, okay, if people are discussing a lot about the current issues on forums, and if I'm a competing news site coming up, I can leverage the traffic from Loyat as well. So I would go into forum on Loyat, create a user, and start communicating in there, because I know things goes around in Loyat, and this derives 31% of their referring traffic. So it's something that we can do is look at where competitors are getting their traffic from, and then look at ways you can get traffic from those sources as well. This is one of the ways we can do, right? Of course, I'm showing you just something simple, and hope this gives you some idea. So use SimilarWeb. Again, this is not a free tool. The free tool only gives you a bit of data, but for a start, this is sometimes enough to just see some data to get an idea of what your competitors are doing. Now, the second tool I want to show you is Ubersuggest, right? So Ubersuggest is a SEO keyword tool, and I mentioned this many times in the videos and trainings that I do. But what we can use it for is also to look at competitors as well. So what we can do is just put in a competitor website. So for example, let's go and put in worldofbuzz.com. Now, make sure to choose this to the country that you are looking at, like say English and Malaysia, because we are looking at the top pages of World of Buzz in Malaysia. So again, remember that the top pages that shows up in different countries are different. Okay, so click on worldofbuzz.com and click on search, and what we're going to see is a bunch of data that comes up. Give you a few seconds, let it run. Okay, so if you scroll down here, we can go and view the pages, right? You can see this button here. View the pages that drive traffic to this domain. So when I view these pages here, I can see a list of basically websites that are driving traffic to World of Buzz. Now, for some reason, the page is not loading on my site because probably I have too many windows set up right now. But once you do this, try it for yourself. Put in a website and see the top list of domains that are driving traffic towards World of Buzz, for example. So it's not working for me. I'll probably have to clear my cookies because I had too many things running on earlier. But try it for yourself. It should work. Okay, so I'm going to show you the steps again. So let's put in a competitor's keyword, like for example, World of Buzz, right? Search for it. It will show you some. Data here, but the important thing that you want to see is where this World of Buzz get their traffic from. So scroll down and basically click on this button here called View the pages that drive traffic to this domain. Once you click on it, you will see a list of sites that is driving traffic to World of Buzz. Now I can't do this right now. Probably my cookies are messed up. I would have to change it. So I'm going to skip this, but you try it for your own. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next thing. So that concludes again. In conclusion, what you can do to basically increase your conversions on your site, right? Number one, let's go back really quickly, is to ask the visitors. Just ask visitors why are they not converting? Why they do not like this particular page? Just ask them, what do they feel about this page and improve on those answers that they tell you. That's the first. Number two, see why, right? See why your visitors are not converting on your site, not putting in their lead, not putting in their conversions on your site with video recordings and heat maps using React-Flow. And number three is to focus on the traffic sources that bring you revenue, right? We can reverse engineer this using things like React-Flow as well to see which traffic sources brings you the revenue, because not all traffic sources will be profitable. Some traffic sources will be profitable for certain businesses, but not for you. So you have to track them for yourself and to find out which traffic sources is bringing you the actual revenue. All right, so this is it for today's sharing. Now, just to let you know, right? We actually negotiated with React-Flow, the tool that I showed you earlier, to bring you an amazing price, right? So React-Flow is free, but the free usage gives you only very little data. You cannot actually look at a lot of recordings. And the reason why a tool like React-Flow is not very, how I put it, it's not very expensive, not very cheap as well. The reason why a tool like React-Flow costs some money is because they would have to store your video recordings of all the visitors into a server somewhere, and that is cost for them, right? So React-Flow Pro will give you 5K daily page view processing. That means you can have up to 5,000 visitors coming to your page, and you can still have it processing all the data coming back to the dashboard. You have unlimited reports, unlimited widgets. Widgets are those surveys tools that I showed you earlier. Bug tracking is when someone comes to your site, okay, and hit a problem, and that email gets sent to you. So that's bug tracking. And the last one, 2,000 video recordings. So you can have up to 2,000 video recordings. So once you hit that limit, what's going to happen is it's going to auto-update itself and delete the old recording, because again, video recordings are heavy. So this is why React-Flow, a tool like this, would have to charge you something, because video recordings are heavy. Imagine every visitor that comes to your site, they do a recording of that to give you the ability to see what they are doing, your visitors are doing, and improve upon that. So we have negotiated with React-Flow to bring you React-Flow Pro 3 months usage for 3 months at only 150 instead of 260 and 94 cents. So that's a deal, right? So how do you get this? Just go and Google for React-Flow deal. I'm going to paste down the link in a while. But if you want to go and check it out right now, just go and Google for React-Flow deal. You'll find our page on the top search engine. Click into it and you'll see this page. Go and get it, right? But since you're here, and actually given this to most of our subscribers, including yourself, you can get an additional 10 ringgit off when you use this coupon code CONVERTMORE. So go to the page itself, click on Get React-Flow Pro Deal, and then go to the cart and click on Convert More. You get an additional 10 ringgit off that deal to get 3 months usage of React-Flow Pro to do everything I've shown you. The video recordings, the heat maps, the widgets I've shown you here, the bug reporting, and everything there for 3 months. That's really, really affordable. Okay, so I'm not going to go through this because I've gone through this with you already. So video recordings, basically you're able to tell your visitor's city, country, the device he or she is using, whether it's a new or returning user, and what he or she is doing on the page itself, and the problems that he or she is facing. Okay. Bugs. So whenever someone hits a bug on your site itself, you will know, and you'll receive an email that gets sent to your email saying, hey, someone hit a bug, go and check it out, go and solve it for this person immediately. Okay. And you see heat maps of everything in action on your site itself. So it's an amazing platform. It takes some time to learn it because it's quite advanced, but once you get it set up on your site, on your e-commerce site or whichever, you find that this gives you so much value as a business owner. All right, so thank you so much for this. I'll be dropping you the links right now, but let's discuss in the comment section if you have any discussion. And again, thank you for joining me in this session. So let me just go and share that links to you. So anyway, if you want to get React Flow Pro, right? Let's go to this page itself. I'm going to share this with you. Get React Flow Pro here. Okay, and you can also go and so let me show you let me share my screen and show you how to get the deal. So you are here on digitalkid.org, right? This is the React Flow deal that gives you 3 months of usage for just 150. That's a deal of we have negotiated this for you, so try use it for your site. So when you click on this red button left, and oh, by the way, we only have 49 copies left, yeah? So once we sell out these 49 copies of this deal, React Flow we have to renegotiate again with them to give us more. If not, it's going to be out of sale. That's also an urgency method. So anyway, click on Get React Flow Pro Deal, and you see a quick cut here. Now just put in the coupon code of convert more, right? And just click on apply. You get it even cheaper, 140 ringgit. Oh my gosh. So anyway, this is for you. I hope you appreciate us doing this for you and you find value in React Flow Pro. Again, I do not own React Flow Pro, right? I do not own React Flow. This is something that I feel that is valuable, and I think that you will love it, especially if you're someone who has a website, doing e-commerce, and doing lead generation as well. So hope this helps you. I'll be looking at the questions later on. So for now, thank you for joining this